because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a confession carved in scars. The truth about what happens when you stop running from your monsters and start walking beside them. There was a time I thought silence meant peace. That if I hid my anger, my fear, my chaos, the world would finally accept me. But the more I buried it, the heavier it became. Until one day, the silence I created started to scream back at me. It wasn't peace I was living in. It was a cage made of my own fear, built to protect me from a world that never cared to understand what I carried inside. Why do they call you a monster when all you did was survive what destroyed you? What if the things you fear inside you aren't enemies, but your greatest protectors? Have you ever tried to silence the darkness inside you just to make the world comfortable? What happens when you stop apologizing for your fire and start using it? And what if the real transformation begins when you stop hiding from what haunts you? I used to think I was broken, that something inside me had snapped beyond repair. But then I realized I wasn't broken. I was just unfinished. Every scar was a line in a story I hadn't yet understood. The pain didn't come to end me. It came to carve me into something the world couldn't bend. It came to teach me that survival isn't always soft. Sometimes it's brutal, raw, and lonely. But here's the thing no one tells you. The monsters were never real enemies. They were reflections, each one carrying a piece of me I tried to forget. My rage, my hunger, my truth. They waited in the dark, not to destroy me, but to test if I was ready to face myself. And when I finally stopped running, I met them face to face. I didn't see evil. I saw power. I saw protection. I saw every piece of me I had thrown away trying to be good for a world that only loved silence. That's when it hit me. The darkness was never my punishment. It was my mirror. It showed me who I really was when the lights went out and no one was watching. I stopped hiding the chaos. I stopped whispering when I wanted to roar. And in that silence, something woke up. The same energy that once made me afraid now made me unstoppable. Because once you stop fearing your own fire, you become the fire. You stop chasing light from others because you finally realize it was always burning inside you. The world loves to call strong souls monsters. They'll tell you you've changed. They'll say you've become cold, ruthless, heartless, but they never see the storms you've walked through to become this calm. They don't understand that to survive, you had to kill the version of you that begged to be understood. And maybe that's the real reason they fear you now, because you no longer need their approval to exist. You've seen what's inside you, and you didn't flinch. You didn't run. You simply nodded and walked through the flames. You learned that sometimes peace doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from acceptance. Accepting that not everyone deserves access to your rebuilt soul. People think darkness is the end of the road, but for some of us, it's the birthplace. It's where the weak parts of you die, so the real one can rise. you start realizing the monsters outside were never as dangerous as the doubts inside your head. You learn to walk differently. You speak with fewer words, but heavier truth. You start choosing silence, not because you're weak, but because peace now feels louder than chaos. You don't chase validation anymore. You build your own throne in the ruins of what tried to destroy you, and you sit there, not as a victim of your story, but as the author of your rebirth. And the funny thing is, once you make peace with your monsters, the world loses its power to scare you. You stop explaining your pain. You stop seeking softness in people who only ever admired your scars, but never understood your strength. You start living in a way that says, I survived, and that's enough. But listen carefully. This isn't a story about revenge. It's about rebirth. You're not meant to burn the world down. You're meant to light your own way through it. When they call you a monster, let them, because they'll never understand what it takes to rebuild yourself in the dark. You don't need to prove you're good. You just need to stay real. You don't need to silence your rage. You just need to aim it. Every scar on your body, every crack in your soul is proof that you didn't just survive the storm. You became the storm. So the next time they whisper your name with fear, remember this: monsters don't bow, they rise.